9 o'clock hour, Lions have OTAs underway. We'll get to the 10 biggest storylines at 9:35. There was an email I sent that you guys want to give me a hard time about before we wrap the hour.
Hell yeah.
I didn't even realize
tuned.
it.
9:50. I want to know your thoughts. Not yours, Jim, but tune in. This is must-listen radio at 9:50. And I'm actually hoping that we might be able to draw in a couple of other employees here to talk about the situation.
I didn't even
crosstalk.
I didn't realize
get Doug in here a little early.
That it would be taken the way it was. But yes, okay, before the hour ends.
I think you did. Words matter. How many times do I have to tell you? Words matter.
Anyway, we did Dear John, but that's for when we do general life advice. Heather, you have something going on in your life.
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, I mentioned on air, I wasn't here because I got into a pretty bad car accident. I had been waiting to kind of hear back from the collision shop, from my insurance, and finally got the call that the car is totaled, right? Loved this car, and I'd been babying it. I had it all during the pandemic. It hardly had any miles on it, right? Because I took good care of it, just filled it up with gas. Anyway, that doesn't matter. The good news is that I'm not hurt. The guy who hit me is not hurt either, but just totally sucks, right? Also, calling my lender, I had a 2.4% interest rate.
Oh, you're not going to get that anymore.
Not anymore. It's going to be about 8% for, So, we started going through the process of looking for a new car, right? Having one car right now is really difficult. At
Two
first,
kids, too.
I thought, okay, we could do this, right? Like my husband works from home, so he doesn't technically need a car in the morning. I can have the car here, get back, but it's not working out, right? There's just situations you do sometimes need another vehicle. We definitely have to get another car. And we went to multiple dealerships over the weekend, and I think it's because we haven't had to look for cars. It was shocking.
Sticker shock. It is a real thing. And,
the inventory still wasn't huge, right? So we asked to test drive different kind of vehicles. And, one of the dealers was like, okay, well, this is the only one we have here. And it's like the top of the line, right? With like all the added features, this extra trim level, this really high end one. And,
it's the only one we have.
It looks sweet, right? I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. Then you hear the sticker price and it's about $100,000 car. And I'm thinking, well, I'll test drive it because I've never been in one. I want to see how it handles. I want to, get behind the wheel, but we're not going to buy this car because he sat down for financing. He's like, I don't know what your budget is. And it was coming to either like $12,000 to $13,000, depending on a lease or purchase per month. And these dealerships,
$1,200.
Did I say thousand again?
Yeah.
I didn't mean $12,000, $1,200. Yes. And the dealerships were packed. So there was a lot of people out looking for cars. But to me, it's like, so somebody is probably going to purchase this vehicle that we test drove, right? This really high-end trim level. But I look at that, and that to me is like a mortgage payment.
Sure.
Oh, sometimes a lot more.
That's so expensive. How are people affording these cars? We're most likely going to buy a pre-owned. We're going to buy a used vehicle. But it's just, are people having to give up luxuries to afford? Because you have to have a car to get to work or get to wherever you need to go. So what luxuries do you give up? Are you giving up trips? Are you giving up, getting your Starbucks, getting your nails done, going out to eat? Because we're starting to add this up. I mean, now with the interest rate just alone, like that's going to cost us a lot more money. I don't know. It's like, it's a little overwhelming, to be honest. Like I get very overwhelmed by the thought of how much money we're going to be spending.
Yeah. So first off, there was a point where inventory was almost non-existent at these car dealerships. Anymore, it's they can find cars with a lower trim level, and it's not the high pressure is, oh well, you can get this one, and then they find out you have kids. Well, your kids, this is the safest one, and if you go down one, you're putting your family at risk.
Sure. They didn't do that to us,
right?
But.
No, but that's. I mean, we've all heard that sales pitch. But yeah, I think, and this goes on the heels of, we talked about this, and this is a luxury for some people. Other people thinks it's a necessity, but season ticket prices have gone way up for the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
And I think there are people that, Heather, are in your situation where they have to, a necessity is a car for a lot of people. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And if they're going to have to pay the interest rate, which adds to the cost and the cost of ownership, they're giving up something else, and it might be season tickets. Now, a lot of people would say, well, okay,
that's a luxury anyway.
That's a luxury anyway. But there are other things where maybe it's a family trip that people have given up, or they're, instead of taking we were going to fly to, wherever it is, now we're going to drive to a local place. We've heard, the staycation term has come up a lot in the past 5, 6, 7 years because it's so hard to fit that in your budget with the other items, whether it's your grocery bill or a car payment, continuing to go up at a level that you can't keep up with.
I feel like you need 2 cars for your situation specifically. You got 2 kids. You have the car here at work right now. If God forbid anything happens, you want to have, even just for emergencies. Yes. But I think there's this challenge right now in the market where you don't want something brand new, expensive, and lavish, but you need something safe and reliable, and even those prices have gone up.
I mean, yes, we weren't looking at sedans. We were looking at like an SUV. We've got 2 kids, 2 dogs. So we were looking at a vehicle that's probably going to be a little bit more expensive than a sedan. But it was just, it was really shocking to see how many people we're looking at those cars, the same vehicles we're looking at. They're out test driving them. They're selling them. Looking at the trunk space. They're out there. So people are buying these cars that are on the lot and then we just went and perused a lot after the dealership was closed and just looked at the sticker prices and just like.
Yeah. Oh, and then wait until, you have sticker shock and then put insurance on it.
Well, yeah.
The insurance is going to go way up. And the fact that you were in an accident and this whole, no fault,
don't get me
the whole
started
no
on
fault situation that we have here in Michigan.
It's really frustrating. Everything about it, and my insurance is frustrating about everything that's going on with this whole process. But
the thing here is people can relate to what you're going through.
Yeah.
Everybody's had to make decisions on, hey, do I cut back here? Do I cut back there? 248-539-9797. And then the question is, which price hike has bothered you most? The sticker shock. And it may be something as big a purchase as a car, a vehicle. It could be the restaurant that you've been going to.
Yeah.
What is it for you? 248-539-9797. We got phone calls to get to. Let's start with Ben. You're on 97.1, Ben.
Hey, I can kind of speak to what Heather's going through. I'm a licensed used car dealer. I've been doing it for 30 years. And a couple years ago, post-pandemic, it was just mayhem. The leasing rental car companies were trying to replenish their inventory. We were paying customers for Equinoxes, Escape, just general cars, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 over their lease buyout. So they were using that to lease a new car, and it made their payment relatively cheap. Well, what's happened is prices have come down. The used car inventories have all kind of settled down. So leases are worth probably about what you have to pay for them, but the new car industry hasn't lowered the price on the leases. So until they do that, I'm telling all my customers, just buy out your lease. So instead of spending $300-400 on a new Equinox, just your 2-year-old one for $20,000 is a lot better deal. And until that turns, meaning until the industry brings out some rebates or whatever, this is what people are up against. And to be honest with you, I've lost a lot of business in the last 6 months because the right thing to tell people is just to buy out their lease.
Yeah, but what if it gets totaled?
Right.
You can't do that.
Then you can also find people, that are selling their lease and all that. But you can, a certified use is a great value. I would do that. Something that has, something certified. That's obviously 2 kids. Make sure you get something that's safe.
Yeah, I think that's
Peace
the route we're going to go.
Too. Yeah. Because otherwise you don't know what you're buying.
Right.
Yeah.
Franco and Clausen, you're on 97.1.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Not much. How you doing?
What's up?
I'm doing well. Hey Heather, first of all, I had a wreck a little while ago myself. First of all, is your car fixable?
We talked, yes. It sounds like it's pretty badly damaged. We did talk about it with the mechanic, like, should I purchase my car and try to get it fixed? We looked at all the options. He told me he would not recommend doing that. That it's that damage that he wouldn't do that.
Well, because my insurance company told me that my car was totaled.
Okay.
But then I asked my guy, can it be fixed? He said, yeah. So the insurance company gives you so much money if they're going to take the car.
Yep.
And they give you less money if I'm going to keep the car.
Right.
So I kept the car. Then it only cost me what the money they gave me. It only cost me another $900 on top of that to have my car fixed. I'm sitting in it right now.
We looked into doing that. The collision shop said he stopped adding up damages at $20,000. Could I find another collision shop? Maybe that would do it like with different parts, or I don't know. It's pretty damaged. He said he didn't even total up the fact that they have to replace every single seatbelt and airbag system. So I think that option is out for us.
Text coming in. The things that have the price hikes that have bothered you most: golf courses, daycare, which apparently Chris says 33% in 3 years.
Oh.
Since I haven't given up anything, I still take my vacations. I go to U of M games, but I've had to take out extra work just to pay for it all.
Oh, okay.
So that's the other way to handle it.
Yeah.
Ticket Texture says I'm 25. Rent is ridiculous. That has been skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be hard. Those young adults that maybe aren't ready to purchase a home, but you want to live on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be real tough.
Well, even the young adults who do want to purchase
That's true.
a home.
Yes, that's true too.
And they're like, I want to get into a home that I can lock in a mortgage and a monthly bill
true.
for years to come, only to find out you're priced out of that market and you have to pay more a month to rent.
Yeah. For us, it's the noticeable increase in the cost of groceries. Yep. Whether you're going to Costco or the grocery store, trying to find the lowest prices, the best deals, it's just unbelievable how much that has gone up just in the last 18 to 24 months.
It's going out to eat, like the nice sit-down restaurant. It's the food you buy yourself at the grocery store. It's also, you think you're trying to, the cheat code used to be you go to fast food. Does a $5 footlong exist anymore?
Oh, no.
No chance. Long gone are those days.
Yeah, and you start, going to some quote-unquote fast food places, and for two, you're walking out with a bill that's $35.
You may be sitting down at a restaurant.
Crazy. Yeah. And it's not like I'm eating like I used to. I'll take one of everything.
No, we know. 248-539-9797. We'll get some of your thoughts coming up next, 97.1. Talking about Stadium Swim, dive into the best pool in history. It's located at Circa Resort and Casino, where you can catch the biggest games at a viewing experience that's built for us, sports fans. Chill in the 6 pools, 3 different levels, and always a perfect view of the 40-foot-tall high-definition screen. It's Stadium Swim, America's favorite place to watch all the games. The swim-up bars, Insta-ready selfie walls, a non-stop party. Score your perfect game day spot, cozy day beds, private cabanas, or grab a lounge at the center of the action. Reserve your place today. It's 365 days of sports poolside. Located at Circa Resort and Casino, downtown Las Vegas on Fremont Street. That's Stadium Swim, all sports, all seasons. Book your spot today at circalasvegas.com. Heather's been very open about what's happened. She got in a car accident.
Yeah.
And it wasn't your fault.
It wasn't.
But your car is damaged beyond repair.
Mm-hmm.
You are a household of 4, 2 young kids,
Mm-hmm.
1 car. It's
not working out well already. We're finding issues. We need a good, reliable car.
And you went to look for said reliable car, and you got, boom, sticker shock.
I mean, I knew cars were expensive. I wasn't naive to that, but we hadn't had to look for a new car in a long, long, long time. I bought out my lease during the pandemic, so I owned my car, and I was just flabbergasted by how much these cars cost. But then also, I was in shock by how many people were looking for cars and are buying these cars that are on the lot. And the cars we looked at, of course, the dealer showing us have all the bells and whistles, and were really expensive.
So have you had to give up things to make these decisions in your life? And which current price hike has bothered you most? We've got texts, we've got calls. Let's get to Rob. You're on 97.1.
Hey, guys, just went through the car buying process. First of all, they had one on a Friday that hadn't been processed yet. I had a golf outing on a Saturday, so I wasn't able to get there. And it was processed and sold Monday morning before I could even get into there. And so I had to end up buying the next trim up, which was about $3,700, more than the one, I was like plain Jane base model. Yeah. I even made a joke, if I had to roll the windows down by hand, I would.
Right.
To save a couple bucks. But what I'm going to do is I have a substitute teaching license. I normally have at least one day off during the week, so I'll probably do that. And then I'm probably going to get one of the gig jobs, either delivery or Amazon or, one of those things, and just try and make up about half of that $700 payment working one day a week in a side hustle.
Yeah. Just hearing that $700 payment like that, it's so foreign to me to pay so much for a vehicle. It just blows my mind.
Well, I went from the spot where my car, I had been driving since college, and my dad was a mechanic, so we had kept it up, and I had no car payment. And then I finally get into a car, and you're right, it is the adjustment. You go every single month, the payments, and it adds up, and then you throw on top of that everything else people are paying money for. Some ticket texts have come in. This one says, I'd actually rather hear about inflation than the Tigers. Thanks, Scott Harris. Groceries are the joke. They're gouging us at this point. The chains are having record sales. Car insurance has gotten ridiculous.
Oh, I got hit with a car insurance hike because we obviously have a number of drivers in our house now, especially with teenagers. Right. And we all know when you have a 16, 17, 18-year-old driver, the car insurance is going to go up. They were already on the insurance, and then 1 month, as I track the expenses, it just randomly goes up $150 a month. So I called our insurance company. I'm like, what is this? Like, we didn't have a claim, we didn't have a ticket, there was nothing, and they're like, oh, it's just the new rate.
Homes are insane. $300,000 for a cookie cutter home. Yep.
Yeah.
And if you can't save up the money because rent is going up, it's a
bad cycle.
Makes it even harder. Ticket texter says, 5 kids here, all in Catholic school. Tuitions, books, lunch prices through the roof. Mike in Clarkston. And this one says heating and cooling equipment for your home. I just went through that with the AC.
Yeah.
Some of the quotes, I'm like, oh my. I thought it'd be half of what it was.
But here's the problem that you run into is because these prices have gone so far out of line from what we've known for a number of years, it's, do you trust the person that's selling you the product, whether it's the AC or a heating unit, or it's a car, or it's insurance, or it's really hard to trust them because are they telling you the truth? Is this actually the price, or are they just trying to capitalize on a market that just continues to go up so I can charge whatever the hell I want?
Texter says, Heather, you mentioned $1,200 a month as a mortgage. Try double that for a first-time home buyer now.
Yeah, I'm naive to that as well. I know. It's shocking. I really don't know, but
But it's a lot of money.
It's a ton of money. I don't know how people are doing it. It's crazy.
Let's Steve in Mount Clemens. Good morning. You're on 97.1.
Hey guys, boy, this is a subject I could talk about forever. A couple of points. For me personally, I went 18 years without a car payment. To me, the whole process of purchasing a vehicle, the insurance, the interest rate, at the end of the day, it's a losing proposition. I understand people need a car in the world just like you need a phone in the world. I finally bought a brand new car. I bought a $37,000 vehicle 2 years ago, and because I have been one who lives debt-free in my life, it actually worked against me. I had some place that just wouldn't finance me because I had no established credit. I got and I put X amount down, and I'm very happy with my vehicle. As far as insurance rates go, Michigan is the only no-fault state in the union. We are the only one, and this is why insurance premiums are so unbelievably high in the state. Heather, to your point about the interest rate, like I said, I think that credit can only work against you. If you have poor credit, mediocre credit, you pay the high interest rate. You obviously have very good credit to get 2.8 financing, and quite frankly, somebody should be willing to work with you, knowing that you pay your bills, knowing that you pay them on time. Finally, Heather, let me just say, nobody keeps their cars. I was a repo man for many years. I used to repo the same vehicles at least every other month, because people get it back, they work out a deal, they go through credit acceptance, who's charging people 24% interest, they need to get a vehicle. I used to repo vehicles all the time, brand new, right off the lot. 2 months later, they're in my computer repo status, and I would have to go find them and get them. Listen, we all know that it's very difficult to live in the world right now. It is so expensive. And Heather, finally, you have 2 young kids. I hope you do what I did. I have 2 daughters. I made sure that they understood the value of living debt-free. Debt-free, to me, is just the way to go in life. My daughter just bought a car. She went 2 years taking a bus to work, and she paid cash for her vehicle. I was so proud of her. So, this whole thing of living in the world is very difficult, and people are mortgaging their future incomes.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of head nods from Heather.
I mean, I agree with that. I think that's what a lot of people are having to do in order to get these things. Yes, some people, living debt-free is very
that's
difficult.
The goal.
It's always the goal, but
it's
it
really
is
impossible.
If you're going to college for students, that's super impossible.
Are you counting a mortgage as debt free?
It's very hard to pay cash for things like a house, right? It's very hard. But yes, that's the goal.
Sure.
It's not normal for anybody to be able to live debt free in today's world, where unless you're going to buy a $1,000 beater,
right?
But you have a family, you have kids, and you are gainfully employed. So it's really hard to think of taking the bus to work and for 2 years just to be able to pay cash for a car. It doesn't happen.
It's just very different too.
I just think that phone call's from 30 years ago. I just don't think it's possible to live debt free. As idealistically as it sounds, you're supposed to leverage debt. But
it's also important. It's also important to establish your credit, which he hadn't done, so he wasn't able to get.
Right.
You do need to establish your credit and keep a good credit score.
Let's get to Jim in Dearborn. You're on 97.1.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. For Heather, it was kind of the same thing with me with car insurance. You want to shop your car insurance every year. Car insurance companies are not your friends. You hear a bunch of people, I've been with the same company for 30 years. They don't care about you. You make sure you shop it every year, because I had one where my old company, I switched to a new company because it would save me $800. And then with that company, I switched back to my old company the next year because I saved $800 the other way. Mm-hmm. So they get you in there, everybody. If you got to change it every year, it's kind of a pain, but if that's what you got to do to save, that's it's a big way to save. And then as far as being debt free, leverage interest, leverage credit cards with 0% intro for 18 months. You got to be careful with it. Yep. But that's the way to do it too.
Yeah, don't get yourself in trouble.
Yes.
I think is the obvious but still problematic thing that people have happened to them. Coming up next, we're going to get into OTA storylines for the Lions. They're out at practice, 10 storylines to look forward to. And then, yes, before the hour ends, my email that you guys want to give me a hard time about. It's 97.1.
Hey, the East Finals, West Finals in the NBA are all underway as of today. But it's not too late to get in on the action with FanDuel, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if you're a new customer in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. And you can use that extra $150 on same game parlays, live bets, championship futures. There's a lot to pick from, a lot to have fun with. So explore the app, explore the website. There's no better place to bet all the NBA playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/Jansen to get started. That's FanDuel.com/Jansen. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 97.1 The Ticket. Must be 21 or over and present in Michigan. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
97.1, Carson Anderson coming up in 10 minutes. I am staring at the email in question that you want to give me a hard time about.
Yeah.
And
last night.
I didn't even realize you were on the email, by the way.
Oh, which is even better. So this email was addressed to, obviously, Georgia Jimmy, the boss.
And Tom.
Tom Milliken.
Does a lot of scheduling.
Yep. And Heather Park and I were copied on the email. And the subject line is regarding time off. And so I'm thinking, all right, well, Jim's going to make a request. That's great. I love to see and know that you're going to take a break. I've taken a few vacations or sports travel vacations for the kids recently. Have some more coming up this summer. Summer is the kind of the time to take it. So I thought, I wonder when old Cookies is going to take some time off. So it reads, working way ahead, vacation booked post-football season. I'll be taking off February 17th through the 21st, and in parentheses, full week. Thanks, Jim. And so Heather and I this morning, in discussions of regarding this, said, hey, did you see that email last night? And Heather said, yeah. Very demanding of the new guy.
Very assertive.
Assertive is a nice way to put it. I'm surprised it wasn't in all caps because it felt like he was shouting at us. Not, I would like to request this week off. The wife and I have booked a vacation, and if this works, we would like. Obviously, you're way ahead of where Heather and I or anybody else are in regards to February, but it states I'll be taking off February 17th or 21st. And I go back to look at some of my time off requests. And I had one recently that I sent for July. And it said, hey, Ruby has her last travel basketball tournament. She's going to be a senior. This will be the last one she ever takes. I'd like to be able to join her. And I need a Friday and a Monday off. Is it possible for me to get these days off?
And who do you put on that email?
I put you, Tom, and one Jimmy Powers.
Yep.
Not everybody.
Can I defend myself,
or
or do you want to pile on?
And you asked Jimmy, I
done.
believe, verbally before you even did the email.
I asked, is this okay? Because I've taken a couple of Fridays off. Well noted. I know it's been talked about here when I'm not here.
It's a stony tendency.
Yeah. But I always ask because I never assume that, because I don't know what days Jim has taken off or if it's going to work with, and I try and look ahead, obviously, the sports schedule. I wouldn't really want to take off right after the Lions win the Super Bowl, but that's one thing. You can't plan your life around one of our sports teams or in totality your job, but I always pose it as, is it possible? Can I have this time off? Instead of, I'll be taking off February 17th through the 21st.
So you included that John and Heather in it. To me, it's either you just, hey, is it cool if I take this off? You don't need to ask like them, can I take? Because they're not your bosses. But how this would transpire normally, Jim, is you would maybe say yesterday, or you just wait till this morning, hey, I'm going to take this full week off, and is that cool? Anybody have something else planned? Is this going to work? So that one of you's here,
right.
And then you send the email or talk to me and Jimmy, and we get the process going.
Right.
Just to come in and like almost like, I will be taking.
Right. No,
you never asked if you could.
He never spelled out both words. He put the apostrophe in there. Oh. So I'll instead of I will. I guess I will would have been more demanding. But I can do the math on that one. I'll be taking off February 17th through the 21st. Heather, have you ever demanded time off?
No, I just looked at my most recent request and I said, I'd like to request Tuesday, yada, yada off because it's Emily's first day of school.
Oh, that's nice.
And obviously if they would have said, actually that day doesn't work, I would have said, okay, no problem. I'll be here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's always, I usually ask if that day works.
And if we're going to book a vacation, I always tell Lisa, hey, you know what? I need to make sure that I can get this time off before I book it. I don't just presume that I'm going to put down a deposit and make this a something that I can't get out of, or I'm going to lose money getting out of, and then demand time off.
I'm right there with you.
Walleye. Can I defend myself for a second here?
Oh, please. I'd like to hear what this defense is.
So the reason you guys are on the email was because I do want you looped into time off, because as a show, we do need to make plans when someone's there and someone's not there. That's why you guys are on the original email I sent for my first time off request, where I said planning on taking, and there were a couple days in the summer. And then I had an update I'd also like.
Yes.
The most recent one does say I'll be taking off. But,
I will.
Yes, I will be taking off February 17th, 21st.
I will say this.
I'm staking a claim to something far in advance where I don't think anybody has requested off. It's more than a full week after the Lions would have won the Super Bowl. I'm thinking ahead.
I do want to give him credit for that. It is. It's a full week after, and it's a week right before spring training starts, so Matt Chapman and Cody Bellinger can go on the cruise with him.
My point is, I think it's
is
prime
that
real
that
estate.
upside down pineapple cruise?
Yeah. I mean, the way he brings these guys up, there's got to be more to it than.
There must be. Previous interactions.
I think it's prime real estate. I wanted to jump in. I wanted to lock that stake of claim to those days, and that's what I was doing in the email. And I'd previously used more polite tone.
All you had to do was just use a little better wording. This never would have come up on the air to make you look bad, because I actually think you can be applauded for you're really not going to take much time off your first year on the show.
No,
and you kind of wanted
know.
to plot this out. You're going to need a break. Like, you're going to need a legitimate break at that point, especially after the Lions win the Super Bowl.
Oh, sure.
You're hosting the parade.
Yeah, for the both of us, during football season, the prime season here in Detroit, because of what the Lions are and what we believe they will be this year, there's not going to be, other than around the holidays, which is assumed that there's going to be some time taken. And I know, Gator, I would like to loop you into this. If Doug sent you an email, and I kind of want to wait for Doug. Doug's getting in here right now, so I want him to hear this as well. Doug, I mentioned this to you at one of the breaks. We received an email from Jim Costa.
Okay, your co-host.
Yeah, hi,
yes.
I'm right here.
How long has he been on the? This is an answer you might not know, but it's not been a long time that he's been a full-time host in the morning.
Oh, in the morning? A few months.
Yeah,
few months.
February, March, April, May.
Yeah.
We got an email last night, Heather and I, along with Jimmy and Tom, that says, I'll be taking off February 17th to the 21st, and then in parentheses, full weeks. Thanks, Jim.
February.
Yeah. So I should be applauded for working ahead and securing time off post-football season.
Do you, when you send a request to Jimmy or Tom to let them know that you need some time off, do you say, I'll be taking this time off, or is it?
You want me to?
Is it possible?
I ask. Yeah, I ask. Can I?
Yeah, I always.
But I'm a mere midday guy.
Right.
I'm not a drive time
not
guy. I don't get to make
demands.
We don't get to make demands. We're just a midday show. Drive time. You guys are the big dogs.
Oh, wow.
No.
Careful. Sorry. There's only one big dog.
That's right.
My bad. There's only one big dog.
Yeah,
There's a
Doug,
hope and
you're
a prayer when
right.
it comes to
You're
our
right.
vacation No, I think this. I think Jim was fine with doing that because of the February thing. Because it's like, no, I'm taking time off for February. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. But it's February.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to work all football season, miss maybe a day or two.
Well, welcome to the group.
Normally, I would say 100% of the time, actually, for me, I've always said, I'd like to take blank off.
Yeah.
So,
Here are the days
but
I'm
because he set it up so far in advance, I mean, that's even
Did he
further in advance
specify
than Doug.
which year?
No, yes, that's correct. Yes, there is no year attached to this. I don't know how long his contract is. But
in perpetuity every February, the following day.
I opened up the email last night, and I kind of made the comment to my wife. I'm like, oh, wow. I guess I don't need to ask anymore. I just tell them.
You make demands.
Yeah, and Heather seemed like she had the same reaction.
Oh, yeah. When I saw that email, I was like, whoa.
What a pump.
Okay, then.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, this guy's feeling his
Look
own.
at that.
That's this pompous, you know what? Apparently,
Go north of 30.
Funny.
Look what happened.
Funny because you're not.
Yes.
But that is
No,
pompous
I know,
behavior.
it
You're not
is.
a pompous guy
I don't
at all.
think I am.
No.
And Doug, the previous
That's why it was
emails
kind of shocking.
Doug,
Well, we're not talking about
in
previous.
the thread, there's
No.
there's much more polite language.
Right, but so he was polite to 3 months, and then after that,
Now
here's
it's-
the
now
Settle
demands.
right in.
Now the real cost is
Yeah, here's the demands.
What
Now,
a jerk.
This is where cookies goes from cookies to precious.
Precious in the morning.
Precious.
Green M&Ms only, please. What do you guys got coming up?
Well, we'll talk about the Tigers a little bit. We got a wild affair in the NBA last night. I spent a whole bunch of time last night attempting to resolve my Bally's Xfinity issue. And I got stories.
Ooh, all right. Love to hear those.
Yep.
It's all coming up next. Carson Anderson, 97.1.
Hello and welcome to the program. Here, Carson Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Hope you're doing well. Gator, how are you today?
All right.
Oh, you are you?
Yeah, I'm all right.
That is the equivalent of a Facebook or social media post where somebody just posts sigh. Basically begging the world to ask them, what's wrong? Oh, you're such a great person. I can't believe. Just begging for affirmation. What is it, Gator? What is it today?
It's back-to-back losses against Kansas City.
Oh.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's just, it's putting hope and faith in a starting pitcher like Casey Mize. He's got this. No, he doesn't.
He might have an early game problem. Remember he had a walk and a home run to open up his last outing, and then he goes triple, double. He doesn't get out of the second inning, gives up 5-6 runs, whatever it was. 52 pitches. He lasted 52 pitches.
Yeah, that's not good.
Nope.
That's not good. No.
Nope.
I don't like that. And it's just seeing the pitching collapse predictably. You said it wasn't sustainable, the staff being as good as they were. I think it's a good staff. I don't think it's as good as they had been pitching for long stretches. So now it's starting to come down, and the bats still haven't come alive. Although, the only saving grace last night is watching Colt Keith bang out 3 more hits, including a double.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really starting to feel it now, which is, I love seeing that because, that's a guy that I followed and I was hoping he was going to get a chance, and he's starting to get it cranking here. He's got the average up to 230, which is still not good in baseball. But seeing how much he's lifted it. Was it 80 points now in like 2 weeks, and he's raised his average?
Yeah, he's 16 for 36 in his last 11 games. He's hitting 444. And, last night you watched Bobby Witt Jr. hit a absolute moonshot. He was the one who tripled, right? No, that was the leadoff hitter, Mikhail Garcia. But here's Garcia, who I think is 24, playing third. You got Bobby Witt Jr., who's 23, playing shortstop. And I'm just sitting there going, they're both in their third years, right? And in particularly Witt looks like he's blossoming into a star. And I'm just going, all right, is that going to be Colt Keith and Jace Young? And that it takes a minute, but you saw what a headache those guys are. And we are, in some ways, in the infancy stages of the Scott Harris era. Everybody else, it feels like a decade of losing, essentially. And I get it. I get why fans are frustrated and they want him to go for it. I have always said when a new person takes over running the show, the clock for me resets to zero, and I start judging them based solely on what they're doing in their time with leadership in leadership positions in an organization. And so for me, we're in the early stages of the Scott Harris era, and mixed reviews. There's not probably more negative than positive in the eyes of the fans. I'm a little bit more optimistic for me personally. And like I like to say, this is just how I feel. I'm not telling you how to feel. You feel however you want. You're a fan. You do what you do. You be you. You own it. But to me, we're in the early stages of Scott Harris era. I want to see if Colt Keith and Jace Young can be Bobby Witt and Mikhail Garcia. And
that'd be great if Jace Young were up here, but he's not.
He's not yet.
And
what time is it?
Right. I feel like it's coming as well. But,
yeah.
I just don't like seeing the Royals ahead of the Tigers when it comes to a rebuild. I don't want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Tigers have more resources. They've spent money in the past where Kansas City never spends money. Kansas City is like Tampa, the feeder system to the rest of Major League Baseball. They draft well, they develop well, and then they turn things over to other teams that can afford to pay the players when their contracts are going to come up. So I hate to see that. I hate to see the Bobby Witt Jr. is every bit as good as he was advertised. He's outstanding. He's a great, great young player. And
if you watch his career arc, it's really blossoming here in year 3, and it's not quite doing the same for Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson.
No, it's not. And that's the part that has me.
Yeah. No, I can understand it.
Yeah. Now, of course, it's a long season. It's a stretch of 2 games after this Astros series where they were banging out hits all over the place. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time, but I just don't like what I've seen. It feels like game to game or series to series, a team takes different approaches at the plate. One series they're patient, they're watching pitches very smartly, and then the next it's like, oh, we're jumping on everything.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot of consistency there, and that's disappointing to see. Watch Colt Keith get out there and have 3 hits, and then here comes Torkelson right behind him, going 0 for.
Yeah, he did walk.
Yeah, he did walk. Yeah, he did walk.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm a big Torque guy, but Torque's got to get it going.
Last night was the 1-1 game. They had the 1-1 starter and they had 1-1 Torque, and those games they're kind of painful. And baseball's draft is a crapshoot. We all know that. It's not as predictable. I don't think
everybody knows that.
Well, maybe
I don't think everybody knows that.
Well,
but
you should.
It's more of a crapshoot than any other sport when it comes to the first round.
Yep. And at this point, there's not a lot of confidence that they got them right with those 2 picks. There also wasn't a lot of outrage when they took them. They were kind of universally regarded as smart picks. But you're not trying to win.
You can't be disappointed if they're not developing.
Nope. And it doesn't mean that you have to do what everybody says is the thing to do. You don't have to do what everybody says is the thing to do. Your job is to get it right. And I don't know. As it sits right now, it's hard to have faith in those guys. It's hard to. I mean, Mize. It was a bad outing. His previous outing was pretty good. I'm going to bring up the numbers, but wasn't it 2 runs at the beginning and that was it?
Yeah, but that's not what this was.
No,
it was
no.
2,
This one was a
4,
this one
then
was
they
a
gave
bad
up 2
one.
more, and yeah.
Yeah, a bad outing from Mize last night doesn't. It is what it is.
Well, the ERA jumped by a full run because it's still kind of early in the season here. But all the other three,
it was a dreadful performance.
3 bullpen arms came in. They all gave up runs too. I mean, there were 3 home runs hit in the game last night by Kansas City. It's just I can exhale and I'll be okay at some point, and hopefully at some point it's this afternoon when Tarek Skubal takes the hill, because it's please just do what you do, which is you're a Cy Young guy, be all Cy Young and take care of business. But the bats have to do what they have to do.
So that was the shortest outing of the year for Casey Mize by far. All right, he'd gone, he went 4 1/3 in his first outing, and everything else was 5+. And his earned runs allowed this year, this is his season: 3, 2, 2, 0, 2, 5, 1, 2, 6. It's been pretty good, but
it has been. But I'd have to match up the innings to that too, because I don't like where baseball is going, where pitchers aren't even allowed to get to 100 pitches anymore. No. That's annoying me too.
That was a catastrophic outing for his ERA.
It was, yeah. Going when your pitching line is 1 2/3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 6 runs. That doesn't look so good.
Those are that's like a Porcello used to do that. Porcello
would have one bad outing
and
in like
dreadful
against the Angels, where he'd give up literally like 11 runs in 2 innings or less, and it would just he'd be trying to eating it away at that the rest of the year, trying to chop away at his ERA.
All right. Every time we bring up the Bally's Xfinity thing, we get flooded with people telling me how to resolve this situation. You have now purchased the Bally's app. You held out.
Well, I got the free trial, and that's going to end in a couple days here, and we'll just.
And you're going to continue to roll.
Yeah, until they figure this thing out.
I have held out. I am being stubborn. I'm being borderline irresponsible, admittedly so. But I also think I'm doing what a lot of people in Detroit are doing, which is like, F it. It doesn't feel, I don't feel like giving anybody any more money. I don't feel like the headache's worth it. I have some technological challenges with I have a smart TV that's an older smart TV, and I can't stream in the living room. I can go down to the basement, which I just have been lazy, admittedly so. But last night I decided resolution time.
Trying to put on your big
I was gonna solve the issue, and all it led to was, well, a story. We will get to that today at 10:20. Got some actual. We're going to talk about what happened last night in the NBA playoffs, because it's something I think we can all relate to. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Evan's doing something little sketch this weekend. We'll get your opinion on it, whether or not it's a huge mistake. Amongst other things, we're going to weave through a show that is slightly shortened. What are we doing? All but one segment leading into an afternoon Tiger game against Kansas City. Hey, it's summertime in Detroit, and that means our baseball team full swing. So pick up your favorite Stoli Vodka flavor and pair it with a refreshing lemonade to enjoy while you watch. Make it the summer of Stoli. Celebrate with Stoli Blueberry and Lemonade, or maybe try a Stoli Vanilla Espresso Martini. No matter what your drinking choice is, remember Stoli. It's your premium vodka, whether it's at a game, your backyard patio, rooting for your favorite player to hit a home run. Stoli Vodka's got you covered. Pick up a bottle of Stoli Vodka today, and as always, Stoli asks that you please drink responsibly. Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97 won a ticket. Hope you're doing great on this Wednesday. Tiger baseball this afternoon. Sun's out and shining. So there's that. Getting into summertime. Yeah, ish. Getting into summertime puts me in a decent mood. Summertime. It's funny, Gator. I have a weird psychology. I don't know why this is. When the kids get out of school, and I guess my 2 college kids are done with school for the summer. One of them's graduated. He might be done with school forever. And my wife wraps up the school year as a school teacher. For some reason, the instinct kicks in that I get fired up. Like I don't have to work all summer or something. I don't know why. I'm happy for them, I guess. But I get fired up when school's out for the summer. I remember that feeling. It was probably no better feeling than like the last day of school. Do you remember the last day of school feel?
Yeah. It was fantastic.
It's the best feeling ever.
It was amazing.
Do you remember anything from high school, Gator?
I was going further back, but yeah.
Of course.
High school is a little bit different because then you
typically
because then you get a job. Although for me, that was after my senior year. After my junior year, I started working after my junior year ish.
Yeah,
didn't take so well.
What do you mean?
Well, the first job I got was working as a dishwasher at a restaurant, and that just was I hated the job. I worked like overnight hours, was crazy, and then they wanted me to work a Sunday, which was their busiest day of the year because they were known for huge breakfast crowds.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to. Called in sick, and the guy said, "Well, if you don't show up, I'm going to have to let you go." And I said, "All right, I'll see you."
Yeah, whatever.
And so it was done, and then I had to find another job, and it took me a while. And
did you not last one weekend there?
No, I lasted. That was the first weekend they asked me to work there. I'd worked prior to that. I think it wasn't long. It was like 4 weeks prior to that. But and then I started delivering pizzas after that, which I love delivering pizzas. That was fun.
You know what I used to do when I delivered pizzas?
Scam them.
Well, that's a whole other story. And yes, but I learned it from the manager. I thought it was cool.
I learned it from you, okay?
Well, I didn't think it was cool. I thought everybody's cool with, you hooked your friends up. You gave them a few free items.
Right, items on a pizza, not like a free pizza.
No,
but like
if they
charge you for a cheese pizza when you had, pepperoni and onion.
Yeah, and I watched as the manager did it for all his friends, and I watched then I did it, and I got fired. Maybe that's why I'm convinced that if I jailbreak something, I'm going to go to jail.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I used to drive around listening to sports talk radio all the time, and it just felt like the greatest thing ever. I get to listen to sports talk radio, and while I'm delivering pizzas, I loved it. Love making deliveries.
I delivered for 2 different companies. One was Buscemi's.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't last long in the mean streets of West Bloomfield, but I was there for it. Then I started school, and then the next summer I worked Domino's. That was fun.
Yeah.
Was that when did they start the 30 minutes or less thing?
It was before I was there. Yeah. Yeah, but so that was always interesting when you'd come back.
Did you have a timer, or did they clocked you?
Everything is written on a slip, right? Because this is back in the day, right? So they would have a slip that they would write the address on and the time that the order was taken. So the people back at the store knew what was going on. And you would come back from runs. Sometimes you'd take 2 or 3 different orders at a time, depending on how many drivers were and depending on how busy you were.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd come back, and at the end of the night, you would tally up all your stuff. And then I would say, they go through. All right, you had 42 orders. You get 50 cents a run, plus you get to keep your tips and stuff. And how many lates did you have? And I said, I had 3 lates. Like, well, why'd you have 3 lates? I'm like, well, because we were slammed and I had to go to 3 different places. We were taking, you divvied them out. You know what it was. But you'd always have to have like a discussion about it, like instead of just trusting me. And I never, right. And I never once lied about it. I wouldn't, because you ended up getting $3 back because you had to give $3 off the pizza if it was late. And no, I never lied about it. And one time the guy called me out and he's like, oh, why don't we just call him and find out? I'm like, have at it, boss. And he goes and picks up the phone and calls somebody and like, yes, did you get the $3 discount? Yes, I did. Okay, thank you. He's like, well, I guess let's call another one. I'm like, okay, have at it. He does 200 and he goes, I guess I don't have to call the time. No, I guess you don't.
No.
Maybe you can start trusting him.
Jerk. You big jerk.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, I did enjoy it though because it was a lot of fun. You're just driving around, and
yeah,
the money was at that time. The money was pretty decent, even though the tips weren't great.
So
people tip much better now.
I was discussing. I used to listen to sports talk radio when I delivered pizzas. How much you want to bet that? And I'm just talking to Kang here. My man had a mixtape. Like,
oh, he was definitely listening to music.
Yeah, he was listening to music.
That's for sure.
Playing Metallica
yeah.
and Pantera.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah,
the Red Dragon.
Yep.
Not exactly street legal. Yeah.
Right.
Am I wrong?
You're wrong in a couple points.
Okay.
First of all, Pantera wasn't around when I was driving pizza, and I don't like Pantera.
Of course.
Was there a mixtape? There probably was. I wouldn't doubt that there was a mixtape involved, but
Yep.
at that point, I was probably more listening to the radio.
Okay.
But to rock stations.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Like what station?
I would listen to the rock stations. Riff and Wheels. Those are the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And I was over there with Electrifying Mojo.
Doc of Rock, Doug Podell.
I was not saying damn. I was saying whammy, whammy, what?
Whammy, whammy,
as one knows.
Yeah.
As one does.
God, it was like a freedom. When you were delivering stuff back in the summertime, there was like a freedom to it.
But that's also fresh. You got your license. You feel like there's a freedom to everything when you're at that age. But
and you're like, they're paying me.
Now,
This is awesome.
I'll just make this one comment, too, because we've completely
gone off the rails
sidetrack again. Yeah, but
well, this is your fault.
It's totally my fault, but I don't know that the whole world needs to recap the entire Tiger game last night. But
Gators taking it like they lost Game 6 of the World Series. Like I was like, dang man, seriously?
He was not happy when the show started.
Wasn't
no.
happy. I'm feeling a little bit better now. Getting nostalgic.
46. I don't know.
I have heard back to the when we first started to sub-reference here that just through experience and talking with teachers now, I'm not being specific about anybody. The kids start to lose their mind about this time on the calendar. They absolutely start to lose their mind. They are so ready for summer, and let's just say their behavior in the classroom starts to reflect that.
Get a little amped up, a little hyped up.
Yeah.
Calm down, class.
Hey, babe.
Calm down.
I'm experiencing this for the first time, Doug.
Are you?
Yeah, I have a 5-year-old that she's done. I don't want to go to school anymore. I'm like, there's 2 weeks left.
Well, she's not challenged. Got to put her in AP classes already.
Something. I don't know. But she's been done, Doug, and she is. We do the same thing every day.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Right. She wants something new. Give me something new. Let's go.
What keeps her going now is there's a theme every day, till the end of the year. So I just go to the calendar. I'm like, what? Today's listen to music day. I don't know if you're gonna listen to some music at school today. Something.
Is it working?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
I do what I can, man.
Cool. All right.
It's concert T-shirt day.
So, yeah, what would the days?
That was every day for Gator.
In Gator's classroom, the days would be so much different.
My senior year was kind of like that. Yeah.
What, you wore a concert T-shirt every day?
There was a rotation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean some of those shirts are still in the rotation. I swear to God, to this day.
I know. I don't fit into those shirts. I just have updated versions of them that fit.
Sticks again?
Okay, so anyway, I decided to resolve my Comcast Bally's issue last night, and
I want to know how you did this.
I'll get to that today at 10:32 here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Well, I want to talk about a great experience that I had recently with a local company because I needed new garage doors. And who do you call? You call a garage door company. There's only one, Precision Garage Door. They're awesome. They took my call immediately. We scheduled an appointment right away, and they helped me select the perfect door for my house. And they got it installed in no time. John, Jeff, and the whole crew, they were easy to work with. They're true professionals. And right now, it's not that easy to find true professionals out there, guys that know what they're doing, guys that you can trust. They are awesome. So if you want your garage doors done right, do what I did and call Precision Garage Door today. 1-800-DOOR-REPAIR, or you can check them out on the web at precisiondoormi.com and schedule an appointment.
Okay, so there is definitely, I am being stubborn and I'm being lazy and I'm perhaps being irresponsible. And maybe, Gator, you like to say you get to a point in your life where you're just like, I don't care. F it. And maybe I'm getting to that point in my life. I don't know.
I don't think you're being lazy. I think you're definitely being stubborn, which is an interesting side of you.
Yes. But I have not caved and paid for any other service or even free trialed anything as it pertains to the Tigers.
So unlike you. Yeah. I mean, you're Captain Reroute.
Yeah.
And like you've been blocked by Xfinity. So reroute. And you haven't chosen to reroute.
Okay, so every time this comes up, we get inundated with texts about how all the different ways that I should be easily solving this problem.
Get the Fire Stick, jailbreak the Fire Stick.
Get it going, just get Roku and blah, blah, blah.
Or there are the legitimate ways you can do it.
So one of the legitimate ways to do it, and I had pursued this briefly, is we have a property up north. Up north, we have a cable bill. And up north, we get Bally's. And up north, they stream. So I was like, well, let me just go get the app. And last weekend, sometimes the last 7 to 10 days, I went and got the app. And I went to log in. I put in my credentials, and it said login failed. So I did the whole thing. All right,
Lost
you could
my password.
You could do it with email, you could do it with phone number, or you could do it with account number. And I did it with email, I did it with phone number, and after 2 tries, I'm like, F this. I didn't have the account number. I wasn't going to go fish out the bill. That's how lazy I'm being about this whole thing and how I get frustrated with the entire situation. How is this possible? And I just give it the bird and pull the chute. So last night I went and fetched a bill. And I got a bill and I got I swear it's like a 19-digit account number.
Right.
It's so long. And I put in the account number, put in the password, denied again. Okay? So now I'm like, all right, I'm calling to find out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized quickly what the issue was. So we live on a property where 6 months ago, okay, this is what's complicated the issue. They bought cable in bulk from the cable company, and we no longer have a cable bill. It is woven into our dues for the property we live on.
Oh.
So now our cable bill got cut almost in half, right? So it's one of these bundle buys, right? I think people have some experience with it, but it's our community, everybody is now bundled together. We still have an account, but it's all part of this.
Everybody gets the same channels?
You get the same channels. You can upgrade and pay more. Yeah.
So you can still get porn. Soft porn.
If one chooses, yes, I suppose you can. But anyway, so our account no longer was as accessible. So when I called up this company and they explained, well, we don't have an account for you. And I said, oh, is it anything to do with the bundle? And they're like, yeah, maybe. I got transferred to 2 different people, like the group salesperson, and then they transferred me to somebody else to resolve the issue. Okay, already you can tell this is taking forever, and we're going to send you an email, and you have to verify the authenticity of the account, and blah, blah, blah. 36 minutes. 36 minutes I was on the phone, and at the end of the 36 minutes, they said, okay, log onto the app, and can you stream? And I see guide, and I'm like, yep. And the first channel I click on, I was like 9 and 10 News is on or something, and I'm like, yeah. And I'm all fired up, and I'm like, thank you very much. And yep, hang up. And I start scrolling. I get to Bally's, blacked out. After all that, it's effing blacked out.
Why?
I don't know. But it was blacked out.
But it's not Xfinity up there.
I know. I don't know why it's blacked out.
That's disturbing.
I was so frustrated. 36 minutes on the phone. I was trying to make dinner. So I watched 9 and 10 News.
What's going on out there?
There was a possum caught in.
So great. This is so great.
We're alive.
I've been going up north for probably close to 40 years of my life. Whether it's been up to Cadillac or up to Petoskey or, we're somewhere in the northern region of the Lower Peninsula.
Yep.
And 9 and 10 news is something that
just anybody's up north, you know about 9 and 10 news.
We used to go up in college. My buddy, one of my roommates had a cabin up in Caberfay, which is over by it's just west of Cadillac. We'd go up there and we'd watch and we'd make fun of the newscasters because they were there every year, the same guy, and they're like, this is supposed to be like a stepping stone.
I know the same. I know the dude with the brow. Yeah,
he's
been there forever.
Some people are no longer there, but there's something that's just relaxing and comfortable and down home about flipping on that newscast.
Completely agree. And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, am I really going to, I'm wanting to watch Tiger baseball. And you know what I'm getting? Highlights of the East Jordan Bel Air high school baseball game. Yep. And I'm like,
We would take bets as to what the sport coat was going to be that John McGowan was wearing.
I bet he goes maroon today.
With patches or no patches? Patches. All right. Yep. Patches on the elbow. Yep.
Yeah.
No, he went tan. Who goes with a tan? He did. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, suffice it to say, it was another exercise in frustration.
And futility.
And at the end of it, I'd say the same thing I always do. F Bally's, F Xfinity, F them all. I'm so mad. Now, the game starts. I start watching on the little animated app on ESPN, and very quickly I'm like, well, I guess I'm glad I didn't get it tonight. Got in today, watched a condensed game on the MLB app. Condensed game's pretty good, but still. So hey, struggle's real, man. Struggle's real.
All right, so let's get to brass tacks here. Now that the option we thought was going to work for you hasn't.
Yep.
When are you going to get the app?
Well, not now because I'm not going to be around to watch for the next. I'm not going to get the app until I know I've got 7 clear days to watch and take the advantage of it, so I'm not wasting the free week.
When are you going to have 7 clear days coming up in the summer here?
August.
Dude.
See? Like, I think Doug, his next step, Gator, is move to Wyandotte. Like, he's not going to get the app.
Like the house on the market,
yes.
And we're moving to Wyandotte. Where they have their own cable system and they've got the games.
No, Doug's not going to. He's not going to move the family to Wyandotte. He's just going. Doug's going to get a condo in Wyandotte.
Yeah.
And at some point, the wife's going to find out. He's not going to tell anybody. The wife's going, "What's this condo you have in Wyandotte? Is it a little love nest?" And Doug's like, "No, it's where you're going to watch Tigers." It's like, what?
No, seriously.
Well, because they got
I keep the main house to watch East Jordan versus Bel Air highlights,
Yep.
and I got that for Wyandotte for Tigers.
Right. I mean, I'm honey, look, I already know Beaverton won the game last night, so I have to go.
Flaherty's on the mound tonight.
Right. So. And they're like, well, if you're at Wyandotte, why didn't you just go the extra, 10 minutes and get to Comerica Park and watch the game there? Because I have a condo in Wyandotte.
I just told you, honey.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, this is why I got it. It's not like I'm going to get the condo in Wyandotte and not watch the Tigers.
Yeah. You got a 30-year mortgage, man. Over there at that condo.
Now the problem is when you start streaming 9 and 10 news from Wyandotte, then you've got a problem.
Now I'm double dipping it. It makes no sense.
What's McGowan wearing?
Then it just gets ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Maurice, you're on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Maurice.
Hello. Good morning. How you doing, Doug? Unfortunately, the reason you can't is blocked out because your electronic device is still saying you're in the Detroit area, so it's automatically blocking. Just like you're trying to gamble, and it says you have to be in Michigan to gamble this app, and if you go outside of Michigan, it blocks you. So it knows where your location is. That's why it's blocking you.
How do I fool it? What's the workaround?
There is a way to do it. I can't remember how. So there's a lot of people out there who watch the Tiger baseball game. They get it a different way. Just like people get movies for free, or they go overseas and get the movies. You can do the same thing with the Tiger baseball.
Well, there's a jailbreaking thing that people do with the Fire Stick, but for this, I'm not sure why. Because
I'm not trying to do anything illegal.
The app, isn't the whole purpose of having that app that you have, Doug, is so that you can watch it from out of market?
But Doug, here goes the most important thing. With your job, you can get a sports app deducted on your taxes.
I know. Well, there's you can and you can't. I mean, believe me, we've talked to the tax people about it, and there is a probability that
it's not that easy. Everyone just thinks you can just write anything off.
Not like the good old days. You used to be able to.
Because what I'm probably going to do is get a new TV which has updated streaming capabilities because my smart TV is currently previous gen. And
all right, so this is funny because you brought that up like last week.
Yeah.
And you said Oregon is going to do TV, and then this wry smile started to creep across Doug's face.
Yeah, because it's an excuse
every
to
guy.
get
What does every guy want?
A new TV.
Let's get a new TV.
Yep. I mean, there's
That's a solution.
at the top of our list: golf clubs,
Yep.
TVs.
Yeah.
And then when you really make it big, cars. But for the rest of us, it's golf clubs and TVs.
New driver, and
This is the fourth call I've missed from Augusta National today.
Why are you wasting
I don't
it?
know.
want me to
Augusta
talk
keeps
to 'em?
calling. No, because once you answer this once, they won't stop calling.
Oh, I see. So the last 4 times they've called
That's
in the
true.
last 10 minutes.
They've never called me 4 times in a row, Augusta. My phone, you have scam call.
I started answering the calls again.
I know you have. I've watched. Yesterday, somebody was trying to sell a Medicaid during a commercial break, and Gator said, I believe in holistic medicine. I have a shaman. So great. All right. Something happened in the NBA last night that had everybody talking this
shaman
morning.
insurance?
Is this shaman covered?
Yeah.
So last night, something happened in the NBA that had everybody talking today. And I think we've all probably had that debate in our head. And we'll get to that today at 10:50 here on Carson Anderson on 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, for years, I've been talking about the Connecticut water softener we had installed by CGC Water. Our water tastes so much better, and it has so many benefits. Call 855-339-4242 or visit cgcwater.com and save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener and the Connecticut K5 drinking water system. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Save 10% off a Navien tankless water heater when you let CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing take care of your plumbing needs. CGC Water, your authorized independent Connecticut dealer, 855-339-4242. All right, so NBA Eastern Conference Finals game 1 last night. One of my favorite things in sports media in 2024, and I guess by one of my favorite things, I mean one of my least favorite things, is now the proclamations, well, this series is over. Yes, Indiana blew the lead and really played incredibly poorly at the worst times, did some really bad things down the stretch. Series is over. It's done. It's game 1.
Well, it hasn't even started because the road team didn't win.
Yeah, this is one of my least favorite sports cliches, but let's actually try and keep the train on the tracks here. Yeah, it's been this kind of week. The show's been drunk all week. Indiana did all they could do but win in regulation. First of all, they fell behind 12-0. And I think that's, Kang, isn't that where you said you saw your first credible media member tweet out series over?
Yes. 12-0, series over.
12-0, series over. Indiana they were up 5 with under 2 minutes to go. And then twice in the last 30 seconds, Indiana was up 3 with the basketball. Up 3 with the basketball and turned it over. Up 3 with the basketball and blew an inbounds pass. And then what's got everybody talking today is they inbound the ball and Boston inbounds the ball down 3 with, was it 8 seconds left, Kang? Is that exactly what it was? 8 seconds?
Yeah, it was under 10.
Yeah.
For sure.
And Indiana chooses not to foul. And Jaylen Brown drains a 3 from the corner with Pascal Siakam right in his grill, but they chose not to foul. And that ties the game. Indiana then has a terrible possession and gets off an awful shot at the end of regulation. Then they go to overtime, and Indiana holds Boston scoreless for over 2 minutes of the 5 minutes overtime and then gives up 16 points in less than 3 minutes and loses 133-128. All anybody's talking about this morning is the foul. They didn't foul. And, Gator, you've come to know me really well through the years in terms of sports and my philosophies. How do I feel about hard and fast rules when it comes to sports?
You're not a fan of hard and fast rules.
No. When people say you have to foul in that situation, okay, the only part of that situation they're taking into account is the score and the time, which is a big part of it, but it's not the only variables. Who's on the floor? Who are you fouling? How the game has gone. Jaylen Brown had never hit a game-winning three-pointer or game-winning shot in the playoffs, a game-winning or game-tying shot in the playoffs. And so this wasn't like Robert Horry. This wasn't Kobe. This wasn't LeBron. This wasn't Michael Jordan. This was a guy who, you haven't done it until you've done it, but this wasn't like so obvious. Like all these variables come into play. And I think when you go with the hard and fast rule of you have to foul there, you have to foul, because people don't get the logic behind it. You have a 3-point lead. If you foul, you send them to the free throw line. They can make 2 free throws. You still have the lead and you've got the ball back. Plus, you're taking time off the clock because then you get to inbound the ball, which, by the way, Indiana had struggled with. But they'd have to inbound the ball, get fouled. You walk the length of the court. You shoot the 2 free throws. Boston, I don't know if they were out of timeouts, but if they were, they can take timeout. They bring it in, and they're back in the same situation, but with less time. And you can foul again. But you're not allowing them. The point is you're not allowing them to even get off a game-tying shot. If you just execute the strategy perfectly, they never get off a game-tying shot, and you win in regulation. I am a believer that hard and fast rules is an attempt to absolve yourself of responsibility of the decision. When you say, as a coach, I always foul there. Hard and fast rule, you always foul there. You're basically saying, I don't have to make any decisions. The decision is made for me. You always foul there. You should foul there, regardless of how the game is going, who you're fouling, how bad a shot that was. I mean, it was a low percentage shot. It wasn't an impossible shot, but it was a low percentage shot. And I think a little bit of this applies to the sabermetrics people in baseball. Well, the numbers say, if you are basically saying, I don't have to make a decision. My instincts don't matter. My knowledge of the game, how I know my own team, how much I know the other team, how much time and effort and work I put in, none of that matters because the numbers say. I think that is kind of a cop-out, and I personally, not that I'm ever going to be a coach, I would never coach that way. I would never coach with hard and fast rules that you aren't taking into account the factors of what has happened the first 47 minutes and 50 seconds of that basketball game and the personnel that's on the floor. So I'm not a believer in that hard and fast rule, or really any hard and fast rule.
I get it. I don't think I take the same approach to that as you would. It's what I forget what the word you said. Was it lazy or it was?
Well, it's absolving yourself of responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, I think in some ways, I think coaches love to have that thing, not because of his almost responsibility, but because, okay, this is what you do. So I don't have to think too much about it. I don't have to come up with some big plan because this is what we do, and boom, we'll do it. But I understand what you're saying. I mean, to me, I don't like the whole win probability thing when you hear about that stuff, because, hey, what's the win probability if you foul? Or what's the win probability if you don't foul? I mean, numbers will tell you different things what you want to hear. For me, that comes in the form of in baseball with pitching righty, lefty.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I hate it. I understand the theories behind it, okay? Generally speaking, a left-handed hitter is going to have a harder time at the plate with a left-handed pitcher than they would a right-handed pitcher. It's just that simple. Why? Because of the ball in different angles, the baseball is being pitched towards you. As a hitter, I remember distinctly, a right-handed hitter when I played Little League, I had no fear of hitting left-handed pitching. None whatsoever. I would crush lefties whenever I faced them. I didn't face them often. I was a terrible hitter in baseball because 90% of the pitchers I faced were right-handed, and I was terrified of getting hit when I was little.
Yep.
So my left foot.
It's a problem a lot of kids have.
My left foot would go in the bucket, and I would leave myself wide open, and I was terrible. But lefties, I saw the whole pitch every time. So I understand the theory behind it, and it's all about splits anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, they got the lefty, and they're going to bring him in and face left-hander. And then if you look, sometimes you look at the guy's splits, which are situational statistics, and you realize his numbers aren't a whole lot different than the guy who was in there anyway.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's see, batting average against, and the pitcher who's in the game right now is 247. Lefties hit him at a 247 clip. But if I bring in the lefty out of the bullpen right now, well, he is controlling lefties, and they're only hitting 238 against him. Like, it's negligible. Why bother? Why stop what you're doing, which has worked, just for this? For the point of, well, it's just a rule. You got to go lefty, righty this late in the game. I do not believe in that. If you can get a guy out, you can get a guy out. It shouldn't matter, that it's a lefty, righty thing.
So there are hard and fast rules, and this is our question for you, that you don't subscribe to. The coaching philosophies, maybe is a better way to put it, that you don't subscribe to. I do not subscribe to you always foul there. You do not subscribe to righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. That you always have to do it. And we want to know what yours are, the coaching philosophies that you have never bought into. 248-539-9797.
See, I understand you guys' point of view. I think in sports, the great thing about it is variables. The things that you don't know what's going to happen, the unexpected, right? Yep. Like you said, the game flow, how a certain player is playing, whatever. But I'm a very data-driven person, and I will tend to side with data almost every time. And I say almost. I leave the door cracked open. There's always exceptions to the rule. But as far as, that's like I said, with sports, there's a feel factor. So that's what I love about it. But I'm always going to go back to data. And if data shows me this way and it's overwhelming, if the evidence is overwhelming, if the numbers are overwhelming, I'm probably going to go with that decision.
Let me also state this. That doesn't mean I would never foul. It's like that. The same applies the other direction. There would be times where I'd be I'm fouling here, and I'm fouling because this guy right here that they're going to try and get the ball to is 7 for 8 from 3 in this game. And he's done it to us multiple. I've seen him hit multiple shots under these circumstances. I'm fouling here. So yes, I hear exactly what you're saying, and what you're saying makes sense. You take the data under consideration, but I wouldn't go the other way either and say I'd never foul. I'd never foul here. No, I wouldn't do that either. So
during the Dallas game this year, the Lions versus Cowboys, Campbell said we were going for 2 no matter what.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there was a limit to how far he was going to go, but when they got the penalty, they still went for 2.
Yeah, that was wild. Yep. And look, I wasn't a huge fan of that. But I also am in the place where when it comes to Campbell, I think part of what makes him good is that he does stuff like that. And I think I think that's how changed the Detroit Lions culture. Anyway, 248-539-9797. It's Carson Anderson. What are the coaching philosophies that you take the most umbrage with where you're like, no, I don't buy into that? Everybody debating today the hard and fast rule of fouling. You have to foul at the end of that game last night if you are the Indiana Pacers with a 3-point lead and 7 seconds left. They didn't foul. Boston made I'm not going to say a miracle 3, but it was a low percentage 3. 248-539-9797. We'll get your phone calls and feedback on this coming up. It's Carson Anderson, 97.1.
Brought to you by Precision Garage Door Service of Southeast Michigan. The Tigers need this Tarek Skubal day pretty badly. They've given up 18 runs in their last 2 losses so far in Kansas City. The Race hasn't given up more than 2 runs since April 5th. Now, Matt Vierling confirms that things just feel a little bit better when Scoobs is on the mound. It's going to be a day game to wrap up the road trip, a 2:10 start from Kauffman Stadium with Dan Dickerson's call right here on 97.1. It may be shorts and T-shirts, but the Lions will continue their workouts in Ellen Park today. Also, primetime NBA will reportedly be showcased on some different channels after next season. The Sports Business Journal says that ESPN, NBC, and Amazon will have their rights formalized this week to be the new home of the league's biggest spotlight games, and that means no more TNT. Post-combine mock drafts are out with the NBA draft just over a month away. ESPN slotting Matas Bazelas from the G League Ignite to the Pistons at number 5 overall, calling the 6'10 forward an explosive athlete with endless in-game dunk highlights. From the Corewell Health Sports Desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97 on The Ticket. Hour 2 of the program. 248-539-9797. We're talking about coaching philosophies that you don't necessarily agree with. I don't agree with you always foul there. You always foul. Inside 10 seconds to go, up 3, you always foul. There are times where I certainly would foul. But I think when you go with hard and fast rules in sports, you're taking away the nuance, you're taking away the context, and I think you're trying to absolve yourself almost of the responsibility. Like, hey, I didn't even make that decision. You always foul there. You're the coach. Gator, you said something that I when I heard it, I'm like, that's exactly why. You said you don't have to think much, and I'm like, as a coach, you should always have to think. You should always have to think.
Yeah, but I mean, if you've got a situation where it's like, I can just focus on something else, like drawing up the next play after this is done, I think you'd take that almost 100 times out of 100. I mean, I understand why they do it. And I also hear what you're saying too, because it feels like every situation needs to be treated situationally. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't believe in the hard and fast rules either.
248-539-9797. Here's some of the feedback we've gotten. From an unnamed texter, running from third on contact is stupid base running. There are people that always run from third on contact. Yeah. Is at a high school game, team's down 2 runs, last inning, they got the leadoff runner on third. Leadoff runner's on third. Ground ball to third, thrown out at home.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yep.
It's situational. How hard is the ball hit? What direction is the ball hit?
Here's a good one. Dan in Allen Park says, the coaching rule I don't believe in, take the points. Okay, so you kick a field goal. This is an interesting one. Kick a field goal. It's good. The defense was offside. You can get a first down. Do you take the points off the board, or do you keep them? You go, nope. I'm going to go for the touchdown here, because people always people don't take the points off the board.
It's situational.
Yep.
How have you were you just gifted it? Did you back up and you kicked the long field goal? You know, is that the case? Or were you driving, you stalled, and then you kick the field goal and you feel like you can still go? I mean, it's everything. It depends.
I think that was a shot at Dan Campbell.
Oh, do you?
Well, I mean, who was the text from?
Oh, Dan in Allen Park.
Always. You didn't take
no,
the points.
I didn't catch that. Sorry, I'm new here. Christian writes in. Here's a great one. In a 3-0 count, I hate the thought of not swinging ever. 9 out of 10 times it's a meatball. Yeah,
I think you see it a lot more often now. Guys,
I do like green lighting, especially. I mean, first of all, everyone in the majors is a good hitter. Everyone in the major, everybody that's playing Major League Baseball is amongst the elite at the skill of hitting a baseball, especially one that's grooved middle. So even if some are way better than others at the major league level, they're all great hitters.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a time at lower levels where you only green light your best hitters, but everyone in the majors, it feels to me like context would matter, yes, and nuance, but I agree. You don't always take there. Pulling the goalie because a team is not playing well, I don't know how often that happens. Does that happen a lot? That hey, we're not playing well, so we're going to pull the goalie? Sometimes you pull them really early if you're down like 4-0 with 7 minutes to go. But
you mean to switch up the goalies?
Oh, is that what you think?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what he means.
Okay, when I hear pulling the goalie, I feel like that's for the extra attacker.
No, I think
Switching the goalie out. Okay, yeah.
Like blaming the goalie when the whole team sucks or something, you know?
Well, and a lot of times I think that it goes into context and the coach come over. It's not your fault, man. I just don't need you to, keep getting blamed for this. Unless you're Patrick Waugh and you're still playing in Montreal and, the Red Wings lit you up for 11 goals or whatever it was.
Yep. What else do we have here from the people? The coaching philosophy I stopped subscribing to, taking the ball in football in the second half. If I win the coin toss, I'm taking the ball. That's from Coach Jay. So, again, there are times, depending on the matchup, you want to get your offense on the field first. Would you think I want to put my best unit on the field first, or I want to put my best unit on the field to start the second half? I got a friend who is a coach who his belief in getting the ball to start the second half and then doing everything in his power to score right before halftime. Like, he thinks the whole game, you can win a game, in his opinion, scoring at the end of the first half and getting the ball to start the second half. He is a college coach, and he's like, this is like one of the biggest things you can do in football. Score late and get the ball to start the third quarter. Almost building a game plan around how I'm going to do this. But of course, it all comes down to the coin flip.
Right. Yeah. Well, and who's got the ball at the end of the first half? I mean, it's brilliant if you can do it. When you're in that situation,
when the situation presents itself,
you're like, oh, please God, let's make the most of this.
Yep.
Touchdown the end of the first half. Get the ball to start the second half. You score again. It's an amazing swing. If you can do it.
Yeah,
it's a great theory if you can do it.
I love it. Stealing a possession.
Yeah.
And yet I don't know that I'd build a whole game plan around it.
Well, I don't know about that, but I am one who always wants to receive in the second half, though, because of that.
Yeah, because you want to pull off that double dip.
Yep. Gator, let me ask you this. We're talking hard and fast rules. You don't always have to do something, right?
I know where you're going with this.
You
Go
do?
ahead.
All right.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
Double down on 11.
Always.
That's what... Doug, Doug's not that type of guy, though. Doug's telling us not always.
Hold on. Okay, there is a difference. The contact, that is straight math.
No.
Is there nuance? I mean,
yeah,
I guess if you're
there is. Who are you sitting with? What the dealer's been doing the whole time?
Hold on.
How many shoots you're in?
Hold on. Let's be real. How is who you're sitting with really, truly affect you other than karma?
Well, because the math will change based on
this is flow of the game.
What
Doug.
the people before you are doing.
I look. I'm not a card guy, but I think you guys are all going on superstitious mumbo jumbo. I don't think there's anything to who you're sitting with.
Well, this is
Did somebody walk up and start watching?
Well, the guy before you, have he took all the 10s or something like that, or did he pull? Did he
if
hit when you're not supposed
card
to?
Counting, that's different.
No, yeah, but if he hit when you weren't supposed to, he might have stole your 10, and are you still double down? Yes, Gator still doubles down, right?
Yeah, because I love to gamble, and
but that's the play.
That's how you. I mean, honestly, is that not how you win at blackjack? How you win money?
That's
at
how
blackjack
you win.
Is you have the opportunity in front of you to increase your bet while the game is going on.
Isn't there
you do it?
Isn't there as much a chance that person that isn't supposed to take the card in front of you? Isn't there as much a chance that they will take a bad card away from you as it is they take a good card away from you?
That depends on what's happened before.
Yeah, I mean, are we card counting?
Well, card counting's a game changer.
Yeah, I'm not card counting, but I do have a feel for the table, I guess, and that's something else. But no, I try to put blinders on, and I'm just looking at my situation. If I've gotten 11,
you're doubling down.
I'm doubling down. It's not always, though. No, it isn't. No, I'm starting to think about it. It's not always. Most of the time. It also depends have I been winning?
Really?
Have I been losing?
I'm always doubling down on 11.
It's pretty high.
It's got to be like 99% for you.
You still getting called from Augusta?
No, this one's from Carmel, California.
Oh, you know what's in Carmel, California?
That's not where Pebble Beach is.
Yeah, isn't it?
No,
that's Monterey.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay.
Same thing. It's right there.
Yeah. Is Eastwood the mayor of Carmel?
He was.
Yeah.
Many moons ago.
He's not anymore. Well, Carmel's leaving me.
Join my club.
Carmel's leaving me a voicemail.
Oh, this is cool.
So maybe this could be actually something. But strangely, Augusta never left me a voicemail today.
That is odd.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're very exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to wait for you. They'll just call you when it's convenient for them.
Coaching philosophies that you don't believe in. Here's an unnamed texter. Bunting. Yes, the numbers show that in general, swinging away is a better approach. But when you have a hitter who's batting 175 and hasn't had a hit this week, there's a 0% chance I'm letting him swing away ever. Next one, the coaching philosophy I absolutely hate is letting up when one is up big. Do you think anybody coaches and says, guys, we can let up now? Is that a philosophy? Or is that something that happens?
I don't think they talk about it. I think maybe what they do is they just go more conservative. That happens.
Yeah.
100% that happens.
248-539-9797. It's Carson Anderson. All right, Evan's making a decision that I think is a bit sketch. We will get to that in the noon hour. But Great Feud in Sports goes next level. That's at 11:30 here on Carson Anderson on 97.1.
Well, we're starting to see it. The weather is getting a lot warmer out there right now. Maybe you're thinking about flipping the switch and turning on the air conditioning. If it's not working, well, there are things you can do. If that AC isn't working, do the right thing and call the great folks over at Birmingham Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling and make sure that it's running the way it should. If you've got a pool in the backyard, you want to have a heated pool this summer, right? Make sure that's going. Call Birmingham Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You don't want to play the waiting game and get burned. You call them up right now, and you can schedule an appointment online at birminghamplumbingco.com. Birmingham Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your Metro Detroit boiler experts.
Doug Harsh, Scott Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. 248-539-9797. Marty in Grosse Pointe says, I hate the prevent defense. Yeah, well, I mean, hate it more when you give up one play that goes 80 yards. It loses you the game. Choking up on the bat with 2 strikes. Coaches would say it after the second strike. I would, but then would move my hands back down before the pitch because I thought it was dumb. That's from Jeffrey. So you were...
It's dumb to have more control over the bat.
Well,
2 strikes.
Put the ball in play.
Protect the plate. Yeah.
He didn't like that strategy, man. He went against his coach.
I'm free swinging, coach.
Yep.
No, he was hiding it. He was you know what I just see in that I was uncoachable is what that guy just said.
That's exactly what he is.
I was uncoachable. If you're down by 1 with more than 2 minutes left, always kick off deep. Not if it's a shootout and your defense hasn't stopped them all day, especially the run. I don't know how the new kickoff rules will affect this, but that's mine. That's from Jeremy.
We're going to have to return kicks now.
Yeah. Doug probably also thinks you shouldn't always kneel the football to run out the clock. I mean, if the math works out, that's not even debatable. Like that's ending the game. I'm in favor of ending the game when all you have to do is snap and kneel.
Take a knee? Yeah.
I guess that's the one hard. That might be the one hard and fast rule.
You got you, Doug.
I would agree with that. I agree. Kang, you agree?
Son of a bitch. You got me.
I'm data driven. This is the data says to kneel.
Yeah.
Data says if you take knees, you and you can run the clock out by taking knees, that you win 100% of the time.
Yeah. Tell it to Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, someone needs to.
Twice he's done it at two
different schools. Someone needed to tell him.
Pretty crazy.
Idiot.
Yeah. Idiot. Regarding the Tigers, guys, the Tigers are quietly 8.5 games back now. They're entering danger territory on the overall season. If they don't play over 500 ball here the next couple of weeks, in essence, the season is going to be over for them, and we're back to meaningless games. They're getting close to that danger territory. They've been slowly taking on water since, what did they max out at? 5 games over? It was 5, it was 4, it was 3, it was back to 4, back to 5, 4, 3, 2.
I think they were like 18 and 13 or something.
2-1. Now they're game over. Now they're 500. Now they're game over. 2 games over. 1 game over. Game over. Even. Now they're under. And they're back to 500. Under 1. Under 2. Yeah, I hear you. That was really unnecessary what I just did. Yes, they've slowly been slipping. From Greg in a truck. Shout out to the Richmond Blue Devils class of 2024. Congratulations on your graduating ceremony today. We don't do shout outs?
No.
So there'll be no shout out to the Richmond Blue Devils. Next up right now.
Maybe the Richmond Spiders.
No, we don't do shout outs.
That's a great point.
It doesn't matter which Richmond.
No, not the Blue Devils.
I do not.
Graduating class?
Yep.
What, congratulations?
No.
All right.
Yep. Things that just get out of control.
Right. We just don't do it.
And I don't discriminate against any Richmond. I discriminate against all of them.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any shout out. Right now, the way things are going, our starting pitching is having to be perfect. You look at all these guys' results, and the Casey Mize and Jack Flaherty and even Kenta Maeda he wasn't bad. I just think that you're in the lack of run support really starting to get to these pitchers, and they're having to wonder if they're going to be in trouble, there's going to be trouble in the clubhouse at some point.
Well, I'm I'm very frustrated as a Tiger fan watching this unfold with the lack of hitting from this lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a huge part of me would love to just say, screw it. Let me see Badu. Let me see Malloy. Let me see Parker Meadows. Let me see Jace Young. Let these guys come up. That's what I want to see. And, the guys you have to send back down or waive, oh well. There's a big part of me would love to do something like that. And yet 2 of those guys are guys we've kind of already seen with Badu and Parker Meadows. But, Badu and Parker Meadows are actually hitting at Toledo. They're making their presence felt also on the base paths, which is something this team doesn't do. Remember a couple years ago, you could tell when the Tigers were winning, they were stealing bases. They were aggressive on the base paths. I don't know why they don't steal bases anymore. A big part probably is because you got to be on base to steal a base, but they just don't do it as much. There are some strange things that have happened with this team. Like, for instance, if Parker Meadows isn't playing center field, why isn't Riley Green? Remember when Riley Green played center field the first couple of years?
Yep.
And how great he was?
Yep.
Why doesn't he play center field?
Don't know.
I mean, are they just that hell-bent on protecting his body? And it seems like they might be. And I guess there's reason to be because he has gotten banged up all throughout his major league career. But, boy, he was really good at center field.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do it anymore. There's just, like I said, there's a couple little things there that I nitpick at. And now it's starting to, you're really starting to itch at that scab and you want to just yank it right off and let's go.
Unnamed texter, please help me, but this Tiger team is just depressing. I love watching baseball, so it's a shame, but this brand of ball is just demoralizing. The Royals scored those 2 runs in the first inning, and I knew the game was over, which is so sad. Yeah.
They had chances, but they just didn't capitalize.
But the percent of times that they don't capitalize is annoyingly high. I mean, they fell behind, was it 8-0 the other night or 6-0, and they came back and made it 8-3 and loaded the bases. And you're like, okay, they're one swing away from this being fun. I think it was Torque.
Mm-hmm.
Did he pop out? I don't remember what he did.
Yeah, I think he popped out.
But even in the chip away theory, he didn't need to hit a bomb. He just needed to put one in, a mere single would have made it more interesting. But yeah, their percent chances of coming back, it does not feel good at all. Gator, the NFL draft has been awarded. Did you see this?
No.
For 2026? I think it is. 2026 NFL draft.
Is this in Cleveland next year or something?
Where is it?
Green Bay.
Green Bay, that's right.
Next year, Green Bay.
So it's going to a place.
The little hamlet up there, yeah.
It hasn't been yet. Little hamlet. It's going to a place it hasn't been yet, but it's a traditional NFL franchise. Care to venture a guess?
I can't believe they're going to do a run on NFC North teams, so I was going to say Minnesota, but no. Dallas?
It is not going to Dallas. It's been to Dallas.
NFC or AFC?
It is AFC.
AFC.
Yep.
Cincinnati?
It is not Cincinnati.
Why don't you just tell me what
That is the correct division.
Pittsburgh?
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's going to Pittsburgh.
Great place to have it.
Yep. It's a great town.
It's a great town. It's a great downtown area.
I feel a lot of kinship because Pittsburgh has been a great organization forever, and we're about to be a great organization forever.
Please.
Multiple Super Bowls.
No, that area is so great. Just you have all the hotels and businesses that are on one side of the river, and then you cross the river and you go to the stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fantastic. And there are obviously businesses on the other side of the river too, but great area.
Yep. So congratulations to the fine folks at Pittsburgh. You get the draft. And, hey, man, the bar's been set. Good luck.
Maybe they'll send us.
Maybe they will.
And with a bunch of beer like they did when we went to Stanley Cup there. They sent us with like 6 cases of beer.
We were there for 2 days. What the hell did they think we were going to do?
I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
We did some damage, but
we tried.
We brought a lot of beer home, too.
We did that.
All right. One of the great feuds in sports went next level last night. We will get to that today at 11:34 here on Carson Anderson on 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, congratulations to all the Michigan Wolverines drafted into the NFL for 2024. The University of Michigan Credit Union is cheering you on loud and proud. UMCU is a proud partner of Michigan Athletics and the official credit card of the Detroit Lions. One might say they're the leaders and best in financial services. I just suited up with UMCU, and you can too. No matter where you hail from, you're eligible to join, and signing up is easy. They have got the coolest debit cards around. Michigan fans, they got the Block M, they got the winged helmet. There's a Lions debit card. They got one coming out soon to match the black uniforms. And with your UMCU debit card, your call and plays at millions of stores, hotels, and restaurants worldwide. Need some cash in your pockets? Hit up thousands of surcharge-free ATMs conveniently spread across Michigan and beyond. Open your account today. I did. It took less than 10 minutes. UMCU.org. Get in the game. And hey, while you're there, check out the resources for student, home, and auto loans. University of Michigan Credit Union, proudly repping your official Block M debit card. Win with UMCU. Some restrictions apply. See site for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Do you remember the bar in Pittsburgh where we did the show from?
I remember being there. I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah. But it was a walk. We could walk to Permanente Brothers from there.
Yeah, I believe Permanente Brothers was just around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. I also remember we watched, I'm pretty sure we left in the third period because the Pistons were playing the Celtics at like 9 o'clock in the Eastern Conference Finals. Because I remember watching Pistons Celtics from the hotel with Cal late. He got there late and the warm beer.
Well, we were only there for one game, correct?
Yeah, maybe did 2 shows.
I think we did 2 shows. We were there for one game, and I remember after the game seeing a buddy of mine. So I don't think we left early.
Was it Uncle Walty?
No, but Walty came to see us at our hotel one night. But no, another buddy of mine who was just happened to randomly and we're walking out of the place, and I see this guy. I'm like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, we just might have had a ticket, so we come by." So
anyway, it was a good trip. Okay, so we brought this up earlier in the week, and it caught our attention, and we found it fascinating, and that is the back and forth between Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. NASCAR All-Star Race, North Wilkesboro, second lap. They've gotten tangled up before. Stenhouse in the 8, but in this particular instance, Stenhouse was running in front of Kyle Busch. It was the second lap of that all-star race for $1 million. And the in-car camera with the spotter audio, when Stenhouse spun out and hit the wall, the spotter audio said, "Yep, the 8 wrecked you." And so he parked his car in Kyle Busch's, I don't know if he parked it on pit row in his box there, or he took it all the way in and parked it by his truck. But suffice it to say, he was pissed. Stenhouse was. And you can't leave North Wilkesboro early because there's no tunnel or bridge out. You got to wait till the race is over. So he sat there and he stewed and he stewed and he stewed and he stewed.
And he was changed. He looked like he was showered and
showered
changed.
and changed. And then he waited until Kyle Busch was making his way back to his hauler after the race. And they started exchanging words, and eventually Stenhouse took a swing, and a melee broke out. And the NASCAR media is awesome because they all knew what was going to happen. So there were like 15 reporters in tow walking with Kyle Busch, and you could see off in the distance Stenhouse just standing by his hauler waiting for him.
And like this is going on. There's like fireworks show going on above.
Well, because the race had ended, and they were interviewing the winner, and you could hear the audio of that. Well, the video was showing this live event as it may unfold, but this was classic. I mean, hey, you hear who's fighting after school? You hear who's fighting after school? Yeah, we'll meet in the parking lot. You hear
Stenhouse was waiting for him.
Yeah, so Stenhouse was waiting for Busch. Sure enough, after some back and forth, Stenhouse takes a swing. Pit crews get involved. Others get involved.
Dad gets involved.
And
Dad gets clocked.
And near the end of the exchange, they're yelling at each other. And Ricky Stenhouse made what we called in the moment a big mistake. Let me just say this. We're going to speak here in definitive terms. We know jack squat about NASCAR, admittedly. But I don't think it's a wise thing to do to say what he said, which is, yeah, and I'll wreck you at Charlotte. They race at Charlotte Sunday. If you premeditate that you are going to, quote unquote, wreck someone, you are basically providing evidence in case the case ever ends up in court.
Right.
Here is the confession that this was a premeditated crime.
Is this, in fact, your voice? Yes, it is. Would you repeat what you said? I said I'm going to wreck you in Charlotte. And what happened in Charlotte? I wrecked him in Charlotte.
This is like Ricky Bobby on trial.
So, okay, you can't say that, but he said it. Now, Stenhouse got a $75,000 fine, or Kang, as you put it before the show today.
They should hand out tickets, right?
It should be a $75,000 ticket.
Yeah.
It's driving.
Yeah.
2 points.
Right.
So Stenhouse they have a single car team. But Kyle Busch is part of Richard Childress Racing. They have two teams. I think the other one's Austin Dillon. But anyway, so you've got the owner of Richard Childress Racing, Richard Childress. This started circulating last night as the topic of Ricky Stenhouse came up and the interaction with Kyle Busch. Here is the owner of Richard Childress Racing commenting on the melee last weekend in North Wilkesboro. Richard Childress is 78 years old, and he is saying he's going to go tell Stenhouse, if you wreck the 8, you're getting an ass beaten. I don't fight as clean as I used to. He is ready to go. How great is that?
Well, hasn't he been barred or something like that, or Stenhouse Sr.?
Well, that's Stenhouse Sr. I don't know what Stenhouse Sr. has to do with it.
Oh, sorry.
That was Richard Childress.
Oh, Childress.
The owner. Yeah.
My bad.
It's okay.
He
is the owner of Kyle Busch's car and Kyle Busch's team. And he is saying, if you wreck the 8, you're getting an ass whipping, which is hilarious. Because you know what the NASCAR media will do? they'll follow 78-year-old Richard Childress.
They will walk with Richard Childress. We stand with you.
As he walks to attack Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
With the Star Wars Darth Vader Death March playing behind him. Dun, 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 dun.
NASCAR. Now, the truth is, NASCAR officials are going to get involved here, and they're going to have to say to Stenhouse, look, you can't wreck the 8. You cannot wreck the 8. If you wreck the 8 and somebody gets hurt, there are big problems.
Yeah, and then imagine how dumb you'd feel if that happened.
Yep.
You'd feel horrible if that happened. This is why I don't have a problem if they want to throw hands afterwards.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Get it out of the system.
Get it out of your system. You guys are going to spaz out. You're going to tire out, and let them throw punches for like 30 seconds, and then separate them and move on.
Yep, and it's over.
Yeah.
This though is, I mean, this storyline feels like it's out of a script of something that you would see in a movie about NASCAR. So how many NASCAR movies have we had? We've had Days of Thunder, and we've had
That's all you need.
Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
Sure
So the option is to let them both race against each other in rental cars, like Rowdy and Cole did.
Yeah.
Or
that's right. In Days of Thunder.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is basically, how are we going to do Top Gun in a different we're going to do Top Gun in Winston Cup cars back in the day. Fantastic theater playing itself out in the world of NASCAR.
As it does, man.
Yeah, I mean, but let me tell you something. So Sunday's one of those days, right? It's kind of an animal day for the race car fan. Monaco in the morning, Indy 500 in the afternoon, the Coca-Cola 600 is Charlotte at night. If you get wind that the Stenhouse and Busch are running next to each other, I'm watching. I'm absolutely.
But you have to get wind. That's
the
thing.
I mean, I don't know how
someone's going to be.
Well, if I got the race on, out of
the
the two of us, I'm probably the more likely to have the race on. And if I have the race on and they are close to one another,
there's more of an opportunity for you to do it because you're still being stubborn about watching the Tigers.
This is true.
So there is a real good shot you'll be doing that.
This is absolutely true.
And I would hope that our followers on Twitter at Doug and Gator 971 would alert you as well. Because you need to know. Well, I kind of feel like I need to know too, because this is intriguing to me. My first ever NASCAR memory, swear to God.
Yeah.
My first ever NASCAR memory is reading the sports page the day after Cale Yarborough got in a fight.
Really?
Yeah. Back in 1979 or whatever it was.
Wow.
I remember seeing the black and white pictures in the sports page and wow, that's awesome.
Well, we're going to count on our NASCAR peeps on social media to let us know if the 47 and the 8 are running door to door, and we'll tune into the Coca-Cola 600 this weekend. Evan is doing something very sketch, I think. We'll get to it next hour. 248-539-9797. A former quarterback in the NFC North said something. Do you believe him? We will get to that today at 11:48 here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Talk a lot about reliable service and things that you want, and I think some people are kind of skeptical about going to the company because you're not getting reliable service. Well, here's where you get reliable service. Precision Garage Door. I called them up. I had issues with my doors. I said, look, they're not working as well as they should. The guys came out right away and checked things out, and the technician, Jeff, walked me through all my options and ended up getting it fixed right then and there. It was awesome. The service was stellar. Daryl and the whole team, they know exactly what they're doing. They're so easy to work with, and I'm so glad that I called Precision, and this is what I'm relaying to you. If you want your garage doors done right, do what I did and call Precision Garage Door today. 1-800-DOOR-REPAIR, or you can visit precisiondoormi.com and schedule an appointment.
Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Open lines, 248-539-9797. All right, so somebody else doesn't think Goff is a top-tier quarterback?
Correct. You may get triggered again. A couple names in front of them that I know that you're not going to.
It's Pro Football Focus. Tier 1 is the Mahomes group. It includes Patrick Mahomes. Tier 2 are the elite group. The elite group is Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. What are they basing this on? Tier 3 is the postseason caliber quarterbacks: Herbert, Prescott, Stafford, Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, C.J. Stroud.
I find this interesting because has Herbert played a postseason game yet, Ken?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Remember they blew the
choked
massive
away,
lead?
yeah. Mm-hmm. Against the Jags.
So postseason caliber quarterbacks, and he's 0-1. Dak Prescott, who's notorious for the Cowboys not doing well in the postseason. Stafford's got a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, interesting. Jalen Hurts is there.
Mm-hmm.
C.J. Stroud already at number 10.
Okay, then you've got the next tier, which is the melting pot of starters: Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff ranked 16th. Are you effing kidding me?
Well, let's go through the rest of the tier there.
Kyler Murray is 17. Jared Goff is one spot higher than Kyler Murray.
Geno Smith is 18, and Caleb Williams, who has yet to play a single down in the NFL, is there at 19.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's interesting to see the next tier. We don't have to go through the quarterbacks
Hold on. So he's behind. He's behind Tua.
Uh-huh.
He's behind Kirk Cousins.
There it is. They are ranking them, so you have to take them as rankings. But if I just look at the group that they're in, and don't rank don't look at the number, can I agree with that? I guess because the way they word the next tier is interesting. The next tier is labeled as can single-handedly win and lose games. So that's the next tier. This tier of what do they call this? This is the melting pot of starters.
Yeah.
So. Okay, this is just a different way to look at it. But the guys that are ahead in that tier above the Jared Goff tier, I mean, I guess I disagree that Justin Herbert's that high. Justin Herbert's the 5th rated quarterback according to Pro Football Focus.
And what's the name of that tier?
The postseason caliber quarterbacks.
I guess I would want to know what that means. Herbert's been to one postseason. He's 0-1. Now, if you want to rank Herbert in front of Jared Goff and give some reasons, that's fine. Dak Prescott has been to the postseason. He's 2-5 as a starter. Who's in the elite group? Is Lamar Jackson in the elite group?
Yeah.
Now, look, the only measurement, I would not put the only measurement of a quarterback's ability, how they do in the postseason. But Lamar Jackson is 2-4 in the postseason. And if one of your tiers is the postseason quarterbacks, how is it possible that a quarterback who's is Goff 5-4 in the postseason?
I believe so.
He doesn't get credit for the one win that he came off the bench against the Rams. But remember, he came off the bench against the Rams and led against Seattle, for the Rams, and he led them to a victory. And this is, I'm not going to get triggered.
Well,
not going to get triggered.
But I do think it's interesting that the tier 1 and tier 2, the difference, there's only one player in tier 1, and they labeled as Mahomes, which I think is which is great.
Yep.
And tier 2 is labeled as the elite. It's interesting because you can shoot holes in every one of these quarterbacks in the elite tier. And I'm not, so you know me, when it comes to the word elite, I hold that word to a really, really high standard.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like the way things have gone, there is Patrick Mahomes, number 1, and there's a giant gap after it. And I'm not sure I would label anybody underneath him as elite because it's only Patrick Mahomes. The rest of these guys very talented, but they haven't earned the right to be called elite yet. Some guys may have been in the past, but they're not anymore, like an Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Guys show great promise. Joe Burrow went to a Super Bowl but didn't get it done. Lamar Jackson's got all the talent in the world, but he's not there yet. Josh Allen, we've seen him kind of falter in the postseason.
Kang, you recently did a comparison between Joe Burrow and Jared Goff, and the numbers were startlingly similar.
Yeah, there's not this huge gap that everyone perceives.
And they both have a Super Bowl loss.
Yes.
And it feels as though there is Burrow gets the benefit of the doubt, and our guy doesn't.
Yeah, and if you go back, like the advantage Burrow has is he's younger. He's only 3 years younger, and the first 4 years of his career were not as good as Jared Goff's first 4 years, where he went to a Super Bowl as well and lost that Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Jared Goff just doesn't get any respect. I hate saying it like that, but he really just doesn't. Like the things he's done here, the numbers he's put up, it's almost like whatever. What do you mean whatever? Put anyone else's name behind those numbers and they get more respect.
I think, and he has. He has one of the things that I think typically earns you more respect than you deserve, and that's where you were drafted. He was drafted 1-1, and the 1-1 guy, people typically go, that guy's really talented. And for some reason, this is happening with Goff again.
And he did it with two teams that were bad to start when he got on the team.
Here's what I find really interesting, is that years ago when Stafford was with the Lions, Stafford was the same thing, wasn't getting any respect, right? He was people thought middle of the road quarterback. Statistically, he can there's stat Padford and all that stuff. He's 7 on this list now.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford is not the quarterback he was today 3-4 years ago. He's not. He's not as good. But now they herald him as this awesome quarterback, top 10 quarterback in a league. Pro Football Focus does anyway, at number 7. He's 35 years old. He's not what he was. How was he still in this category in his mid-30s? I don't get it.
Well, he's won a Super Bowl. That's why.
Well, yeah, he did win a Super Bowl.
No, I'm saying that gets a lot of people. They really elevate you. You win one Super Bowl, it changes your career legacy. Look at Drew Brees, right? Look at Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre.
Aaron Rodgers is right behind Stafford at 8. I just I knew this was going to get a response. And again, it's just I'm going to try to be kind and just look at the tier of quarterbacks that Goff is in. If you don't rank them, you got quarterbacks like Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Kirk Cousins, Kyler Murray, Geno Smith. I can't even say Caleb Williams because he hasn't even played yet. Mm-hmm. But those are the quarterbacks that are in that tier. And I'm looking at the guy who shouldn't be in there. Geno Smith shouldn't be in there yet. Because, I mean, he can beat the Lions.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, I mean, he can run. Has he been? Has he shown any ability to be a really good throwing quarterback?
The one thing to keep in mind is these kinds of lists aren't particularly meaningful. We're not going to get to the next year and go, well, Lions aren't eligible for the postseason because Pro Football Focus ranked Jared Goff the 16th best quarterback in the NFL. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. And Kirk Cousins coming back from an Achilles is ranked ahead of Jared Goff.
They didn't really give their methodology on this. You know what? If I look at this as the quarterbacks that are best under pressure, Mahomes is 1, Lamar Jackson is 2, Burrow 3, Josh Allen 4. And when I get all the way down to Jared Goff, they write, for as much as Goff was already efficient in structure quarterback, he took to an even higher level this season. His 85.2 passing grade was the highest of his career. And then later it says, unfortunately, Goff's play under pressure and outside of structure continues to leave a lot to be desired when compared to other NFL quarterbacks. It feels like whoever made this list does put a lot of emphasis on out of structure or your ability to play in when the pocket breaks down and things like that.
When I look at this list, there are a couple teams I think in fan bases that could take umbrage. Obviously, the Lions are one. Mm-hmm. The other one is Brock Purdy in San Francisco. He's at 13. I don't know what else Brock Purdy has to do to convince people he's a damn good quarterback. But I mean, has he had a better couple years than Trevor Lawrence?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Better than Justin Herbert.
100%. Justin Herbert is way too high in this list.
The Herbert thing is like what you think he could be because he's got every physical attribute you could want in a quarterback. He just hasn't done it.
They can't win
in the playoffs, or even the regular season this past year.
Now maybe Harbs is going to get him to play better.
Well, that's the hope.
And I'm not going to discount that because I think Jim Harbaugh's a hell of a coach, particularly in the NFL level. Winning the 3 straight NFC championship or going to the 3 straight NFC championship games. And maybe he can help him out, but I mean, it's not like Justin Herbert didn't have people to throw to while he's been with the Chargers.
And can I say, is it maybe something we should just tap the brakes a bit on Jordan Love? Maybe just a bit. He's
really good
5.
Year.
I know, but he's 5 spots ahead of Goff. 5. 5.
He can't be that much younger either. How old's Jordan Love? Goff is only 29. People act like he's 37 and this thing's ending, right?
Right.
Like
Jordan Love is 25.
Okay.
Yep.
So he's 4 years younger.
He'll turn 26 next year. But I agree with he had a good year, really good year. Impressed the hell out of me, which scares me. But are we getting a little carried away? Is he become the it quarterback? Jump on board,
he's
Jordan.
absolutely the it quarterback. Yeah. 100%.
All right, so you had a quote from Justin Fields saying he was happy to be in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So he's happy to be in Pittsburgh. Is he happy with the situation? Did he say if he was happy with the situation?
Well, that's where he wanted to go. That's where he's at.
Yep.
And let me see if I can find the quote. This is from an ESPN article. And he goes, we were in the same situation last year with having the number 1 pick when he was in Chicago, and it was a little bit different this year, Fields said. He's speaking for the first time since the trade. He says, I'm not naive in the fact that I can read body language and stuff like that. It really wasn't a shock to where it's like, oh, I got traded. I knew what was going to happen beforehand, so I'm glad I got traded to the spot that I wanted to be at. And it goes on. It says, with Kenny